China is using the world's largest non-online disinformation operation to harass Americans, a CNN review finds. CNN, the Chinese government has built up the world's largest non-online disinformation operation and is using it to harass US residents, politicians, and businesses, at times threatening its target with violence. A CNN review of court documents and public disclosures by social media companies has found the onslaught of attacks, often of the vile and deeply personal nature, is part of the well-organized, increasingly brazen Chinese government intimidation campaign targeting people in the United States, documents show. The US State Department says the tactics are part of the broader multi-billion-dollar effort to shape the world's information environment and silence critics of Beijing that has expanded under President Xi Jinping. On Wednesday, President Biden is due to meet Xi at a summit in San Francisco. Victims face a barrage of tens of thousands of social media posts that call them traitors, dogs, and racist and homophobic slurs. They say it's all part of the effort to drive them into a state of constant fear and paranoia. Often these victims don't know where to turn. Some have ta- some have spoken to law enforcement, including the FBI, but little has been done. While tech and social media companies have shut down thousands of accounts targeting these victims, they are outpaced by a slew of new accounts emerging virtually every day, known as spa, spamula, spa, Spamoulage, Spamouflage, or Dragon Breach. The networks, the hundreds of thousands of accounts spread across every major social media platform, have not even harassed the Americans who have criticized the Chinese Communist Party, but has also sought to discredit US politicians. Disparage American companies at odds with China's interest and hijack online conversations around the globe that could portray the CCP in the negative light. The private researchers have tracked the network since its discovery more than 4 years ago, but only in recent months have federal prosecutors and Facebook's parent company Meta publicly concluded that the operation has ties to Chinese police. Meta announced in August it had taken down a cluster of nearly 8,000 accounts attributed to this group in the second quarter of 2023 alone. Google, which owns YouTube, told CNN it had shut down more than 100,000 associated accounts in recent years, while X, formerly known as Twitter, had blocked hundreds of thousands of China state-backed or state-linked accounts, according to company blogs. Still, given the relatively low cost of such operations, experts who monitor disinformation warned the Chinese government will continue to use these tactics to try to ban the online discussions closer, closer to the CCP's preferred narrative, which frequently entails trying to undermine the US and democratic values. We might think that this is confined to certain chat rooms or these platforms or that platform, but it's expanding across the board. Republican Mike Gallagher, chairman of the House Select Committee on the CCP, told CNN, and it's only a matter of time before it happens to that average American citizen who doesn't think it's their problem right now. Trolling for a living. When trolls disrupted the anti-communism Zoom event organized by New York-based activist Chen Po Kong on January 2021, he had little doubt who was responsible. The trolls mocked the participant and threatened that one victim would die miserably. Their conduct reminded Chen of repression by the government of China, where he spent nearly 5 years in prison for pro-democratic democracy work. But his suspicions about who was behind the interruption were solidified when the U.S. Department of Justice charged more than 30 Chinese officials earlier this year with running a spiraling disinformation operation that had targeted dissidents in the U.S., including those in the Zoom meeting Chen says he hosted in 2021. It was just one of multiple indictments the Justice Department unsealed in April, exposing alleged Chinese government plots to target its perceived critics and enemies, while impugning the sovereignty of the United States. Two alleged Chinese operatives are charged with running an undeclared police station in New York City. Last year, another indictment outlined how Chinese agents allegedly tried to derail the congressional campaign of the Chinese dissident. They want to deprive my freedom of speech. So I feel like it's not only an attack on me, that said Chen, who was ejected from his own meeting during the disruption. They also attack America. The DOJ complaint named 34 individual officials, which with China's Ministry of Public Security, and published the photographs of them at computers, allegedly working on the disinformation campaign known as the 912 Special Project Working Group. The operation, primarily based in Beijing, appears to involve hundreds of MPS officials across the country, according to an FBI agent affidavit. The complaint does not refer to the cluster of the fake account as spamouflage, but private researchers and the spokesperson for Meta told CNN that the social media activity described by the DOJ is part of the network, as part of the mission to manipulate public perceptions of China. The group uses its misattributed social media accounts to threaten, harass, and intimidate specific victims, the complaint states. When asked about Spamflage's reported links to Chinese law enforcement, a spokesperson for China's embassy in Washington, Liu Pengyu, denied the allegations. China always respects the sovereignty of other countries. The U.S. accusations has no factual evidence or legal basis. It is entirely politically motivated. China firmly opposes it, Liu said in a statement to CNN. He claimed that the U.S. invented the weaponizing of the global information space. A report released by Meta in August illustrated how the posts from the network open align with the workday hours in China. The report described the burst of activity in the mid-morning and early afternoon Beijing time, with breaks of lunch and supper, and then a final burst of activity in the evening. And while Meta detected posts from various regions in China, the company and other researchers have found centralized coordination that relentlessly pushes identical messages across the multiple social media platforms, sometimes repeatedly inserting the same individuals who have questioned the Chinese government. One of those individuals is Jia Yang Fan, a journalist for The New Yorker, who told CNN she began facing harassment by the network when she covered the pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong in 2019. Jiang Fan, a US-based journalist, says the online harassment against her began when she covered a 2019 pro-democracy protest in Hong Kong. Attacks directed at Fan, which ranged from cartoons of her painting her face white as though rejecting her identity to accusations that she killed her mother for profit, carried telltale signs of the Spamouflage network, said Dylan Linville of the Media Forensics Hub at Clemson University. Linville's group found more than 12,000 tweets attacking Fan using the same hashtag. Traitor Jia Yang Fan. Although she hasn't lived in China since she was a child, Fan believes such messages have been labeled against her to spark fear and silence others. This is a part of a very old Chinese Communist Party playbook to intimidate offenders and aspiring offenders, said Fan, who questions what her distant relatives in China may think when they see such content. It is uncomfortable for me to know that they are seeing these portrayals of me and have no idea what to believe. Involving tactics. Experts who track online influence campaigns say they are signs of a shift in China's strategy in recent years. In the past, the Spamouflage network mostly focused on issues domestically relevant to China. However, more recently, accounts tied to the group have been stalking controversy. Controversy around the global issues, including development in the United States. Spamouflage account, some of which poses as Texas resident, called it for protest of plans to build a rare earth processing facility in Texas and spread negative messages about the separate U.S. manufacturing company, according to a report by cybersecurity firm Mandiant last year. The report also described how the campaign promoted negative content about the Biden administration's effort to hasten mineral production that would curb U.S. reliance on China. Other posts by the network have references how racism is the indelible shame on American democracy, and how the US committed a cultural genocide against the Indians, according to the Meta report in August. Another poster claimed that former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is riddled with scandals. Spamouflage is evolving in tactics, each evolving in themes. Chinese government-linked accounts have also posted messages that included a call to kill President Biden, a cartoon featuring the so-called QAnon shaman who rioted at the U.S. Capitol as a symbol of Western-style democracy, and a post that suggested U.S. defense contractors profit of the deaths of innocent people, according to a Department of Homeland Security report in April, obtained through a record request. The DOJ complaint filed against the Chinese officials alleged that last year they sought to take advantage of the second anniversary of George Floyd's death and post on social media about his mother to revere the law enforcement brutality in the US. They also received a task to work on 2022 US midterm elections and criticize the American democracy. Spamflage is evolving in tactics, each evolving in themes, said Nemo, the global lead for threat intelligence at Meta. Our job is to keep on raising our defenses and keep on telling people about it, especially as we get closer to the election year. Yet, as social media companies race to stop disinformation and the US government files a complaint against those allegedly responsible, accountability can be elusive. This is the rub with a lot of cyber crimes that it becomes very, very difficult to actually put the perpetrators in jail, said Lindsay Gorman, a head of technology and geopolitics at the German Marshall Fund Alliance for Securing Democracy. But Gorman added that doesn't mean there are no consequences for China, even if individuals have a degree of impunity because they are never planning on coming to United States anyway. That doesn't mean that the party operation has impunity here. Certainly not in terms of public opinion. Certainly not in terms of US-China relations. She said flooding social media. Meta, Google, and other companies that have published the report outing Spamouflage stress that most of social media accounts within the network receive little or no engagement, meaning they rarely go viral. But Linville of Clemson University argues that the network uses a unique strategy of flooding conversations with so many comments that posts from genuine users received a little less attention. This includes posting on platforms typically not associated with disinformation, such as Pinterest. They are operating thousands of accounts at a time on a given platform, open to drawn out conversations just with sheer volume of messaging. Linville said, when we think of disinformation, we often think of pushing ideas on users and making ideas more salient. Whereas what China is doing is the opposite. They are trying to remove conversations from social media. When Beijing hosted the 2022 Winter Olympics, for example, human rights groups began promoting the hashtag genocide games to bring attention to accusations that China has detained more than a million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities in internment camp. But then something surprising happened. Accounts that Linville and his colleagues believe are part of the Camouflage started tweeting the hashtag too. It might be counterintuitive for the pro-Chinese government group to start spreading a hashtag that brought the attention to the Chinese government of human rights abuses. Linville explained, but by using the hashtag repeatedly in tweets that had nothing to do with the issue itself, Camouflage was able to reduce views underestimate messages. Jia-Jun Q, whose academic work focused on the elections and who fled China in 2016, showed CNN what happened when he types his name into X, formerly known as Twitter. There are sometimes dozens of accounts pretending to be him by using his name and photo. Jiajun Q, who fled China in 2016, has faced an onslaught of camouflage trolls. They are designed by the operators of Spamflash, Limby explained, to confuse people and prevent them from finding Q's real account by muddying the waters. Now living in Virginia, Q runs a pro-democracy YouTube channel and has faced an onslaught of homophobic, racist, and bizarre insults from social media accounts that Linville's team and others have tied to Spamflash. Some accounts have posted cartoons that convoy Q as an insect working on behalf of the United U.S. government. Another image depicts him being stamped by the cartoon Jesus. Yet another paint him as a dog on the leash of the American rat. I tell people the truth, so they want to do anything possible to insert me, Q said. Linville and his team have tracked hundreds of these cartoons across the internet and said they are a tale of a camouflage. Cartoons, Linville explained, can be more effective than text because they are eye-catching and you have to stop and look at it. In addition, these original cartoons can easily be translated into hundreds of languages at a very low cost. Beyond the online smears, Q says he has also faced the threat by other online messages and escalatory calls from unidentified sources who he believes they have ties to Chinese government. One anonymous message told him he would be arrested and brought to justice for breaking Chinese law. An email references the church he attends in Manassas, Virginia, and said for his own safety and that of the worshippers, he would do well to find another place to stay. Q told CNN that the FBI has interviewed him 4 times regarding this threat and that he has been instructed to contact local police if he's ever followed. Every day I live in a sense of fear, Q said.